Hello everyone, it's Kari, and today I'm playing with some of the sets from the Hedgehog Hollow March kit. And I'm really excited to share with you this technique of trapping color with embossing powder. So I started out by ink blending on some of these inks using some stencil brushes. If you haven't seen my airbrushing technique, I'm going to link the video here if I can remember to do that, of the airbrush technique that I shared earlier this month. And I'm just going to ink on some color using a whole bunch of rainbow colors by Catherine Pooler. Now I'm going to take this large stamp. This is lettered from this lettering stamp set by Jess Francisco. I'm going to use the You Inspire stamps. And before I stamp it, I'm going to use the embossing buddy bag, the anti-static bag, and then I'll take some Versamark ink and ink up the words here. I have You and Inspire. I will heat emboss that with clear embossing powder, and what that does is that will trap this light color underneath the embossing powder. So no matter what we put over it, it will always stay this light color. And that's what I wanted. You could skip this step if you didn't want to do the double inking that I'm going to be doing here, and you could just heat emboss with clear and leave it white underneath, but I really wanted that light rainbow color underneath. So now I'm going to take some Distress Oxide inks and I'm going to ink over what we just clear heat embossed on the front of this panel. And I'm just taking the rainbow colors. I start off with these light rainbow colors here, but you'll see later on I decide that it needs to be darker. You can see there are 3 inspire words on there, so it's going to say You Inspire Me, and it'll say inspire 3 times, and then we're going to add some more words in the middle. Now here I am trying to figure out what I want to do. Sometimes a card evolves on its own by itself, and I decided to take that ruler stamp and stamp that on the left-hand side, and then I'm going to stamp out some of these other sentiments on. I have some gray paper here. This is scrap paper that I've already cut some things out of before, but it works really well for sentiment strips. So I always save this extra paper so I can cut out smaller things with it. So you see I have a thank you here. This is going to turn out to be a thank you card. And then I have a You're the Best, and There's No Better. And I'm going to white heat emboss these on the gray so that I can have those sentiments ready to go, and I'll cut those out with, you can see here I've already cut them out with some sentiment strips. To stamp the ruler on the left hand side, I'm using some gray ink so that it matches my gray paper sentiment strips. And there those are, and I'm going to cut these out so that they're all the same size. They're going to fit right in between those inspire words, and to get them to be the exact same length, I'm just taking the first one that I cut, lining it up on the middle of that second one, and cutting them out so they're exactly the same. I'm trying to make sure that the words are centered on that strip, and it worked out pretty well just to do it this way, and a very simple way to do that. So now I have already cut and colored a bunch of those paint brushes, and here's where I decide it needs to be darker. So I'm taking some darker Distress Oxides here. I think this is the Faded Jeans, and then we've got Peeled Paint and Fossilized Amber, Spice Marmalade, and Worn Lipstick, and I'll ink all those up over the colors we did before. And once we're done inking those up, I decided the bottom needed some Fired Brick just to give it a little more color. I will take a dry cloth and just kind of wipe off the excess ink that is on those words so that you still get the light color that's beneath the embossing powder. So there is the base of our card. I'm going to glue all of those paint brushes together, and then we'll pop those up on the front of the card. Some of the white heat embossing wasn't super great, so I used a white gel pen to fix that up. And now I'm using these small foam double-sided adhesive. This is from scrapbook.com, one of my favorites because you don't have to cut it down when you have small sentiment strips like this. So it worked out really well. I used that on the back of the sentiments, all 3 of those sentiment strips, so I could pop those up in between the inspire words. And then I also used it on the back of the paintbrushes. And it was just the perfect size, the perfect width for doing this. So I'll finish putting that on there and add that to the card, trying to line those up between the words and matching them up with each other. And now I'll add that to the back of the paintbrushes here, and then we'll add the paintbrushes to the card as well. So this card took on a life of its own, really it did. But you know, that's okay too. Sometimes that's what happens in card making, and it's kind of a fun process. I'm going to go ahead and glue this to a top folding 110-pound cardstock card base. I'll use the liquid adhesive to do that and just attach that there. And the first Inspire word didn't exactly emboss perfectly, so that's where my sequins are coming to the rescue here. I'm just going to take a few sparkling clear sequins. These are the 4mm. They're small. I didn't want them to steal the show here, but just kind of add a little embellishment and also be able to cover up that place right there where the embossing wasn't so great. You can't even tell. And I had a really awesome find this week. It's this Stickles. It's called Unicorn Stickles. Who knew there was a Unicorn Stickles? But when I saw that, I had to order it, and I just got it last week. And so I'm going to use that Unicorn Stickles for the center of these sequins to just cover up those holes and make it seamless. So there's our card. It's a very quick card and really fun with that embossing and all the colors, the sentiment strips, and those paintbrushes with the ruler on the side and some sequins. Just a really fun technique. I hope you'll give this a try, and I hope you enjoyed this process video using some products from the March Hedgehog Hollow Kit. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you liked the video, be sure to give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss a thing. I'll be back real soon with some more. Thanks for stopping by. Bye-bye.